Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda Rose, and in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you all how to build relationships with your students virtually. Now, I don't know about you, but teaching remotely or virtually has been a struggle, particularly when it comes to building relationships with my students. I've done a video on this before, and all of those tips I used, past tense, all of the time. But I realized that that video is very specific for an in-person setting. And if you are in person, then of course use those tips. But I realized that in order to really build the types of relationships that I want with my students, my strategies have to change. I had to go back to the drawing board and figure out different ways to build relationships with my students. Now, what I want to say is this. Sometimes building relationships with your students can be a very selfish thing. A lot of times it's all about, well, I want to have this type of relationship with my student, and sometimes we don't really consider, well, what type of relationship does my student want with me? So what I will say is make sure that you're still creating boundaries, but also respecting your students' boundaries. If certain students don't want to participate in certain activities, if they're a little more shy or reserved, please respect that and respect their privacy. We want to build a mutual positive relationship with our students, but they also have to be open to the idea. So I just want to throw that out there because not all students feel the same way about their teachers. Not all students care about relationships. Many of them may just want to get the work done and go on with their day. So one, don't take it personally if students don't want to have relationships with you, but also two, try not to impose your idea of what a teacher-student relationship is supposed to be like. We don't know what home life is like, and we don't know how their relationships with previous teachers were like. So please keep all of that in consideration, but nonetheless, you are here because you do want to build positive relationships with your students, and hopefully your students are open to that as well. If you haven't already, please make sure that you like this video. Please subscribe to my channel. If you have found any of my videos helpful, please recommend them and share them with your friends. The more teachers who know about ways to improve our classroom and improve our student success is a win-win. And let's get into it. 4 ways that I build relationships with my students virtually. The first way and the simplest way is with SEL Check-ins, social emotional learning check-ins. Now there are a variety of ways to do this. You can verbally ask a question, you can create a form and have students click how they're feeling, tired, happy, sad, confused. You can have them respond with emojis, you can put the question in the chat, you can use Padlet and have them write how they're feeling. But I would take this a step further and just use moments to just ask random questions. Has anyone seen this show? Oh, lately I've been watching this. Has anyone ever seen it? Does anyone like sports? Really just ask regular questions to your students to get to know them. There has to be moments where it's not always about academics. I don't know about you guys, but my class periods have felt so important when it comes to content, where there's really no wiggle room for anyone to really be relaxed. And so try to find moments, even if it's for 5 minutes, where you can do check-ins with your students, check in on their mental health, but also just throw out random questions that they can answer, and hopefully that will slowly build a relationship where they know, hey, someone does care about me, someone does care about me as a person, not just me as a student, even if it's just a random question to get to know them. The second thing you can do is schedule after-hour sessions just for your students to hang out. So similar to the sense of having a club, but this just can be open hours with your students, maybe for 30 minutes. No one may show up, or 2 students may show up, or multiple may show up. But give them the opportunity and the space to be themselves, but then also you can be there with them to just generate regular, normal conversation that human beings need. I had done this in the beginning of the semester, and one of my students had recommended that we play Among Us. I might be saying that wrong or right. I don't even know. The point is, I was so confused. I know that's like a really popular game, but I was so confused on how to play. But so many of the students were like, yeah, miss, come on, play with us, play with us. I had no idea what I was doing. And in all honesty, I didn't enjoy it. But I did it anyway. One, I was out of my comfort zone. And two, I was just honored that they wanted me to play with them, and it was just something that they already do amongst themselves. See what I did there? But they wanted me to be a part of it as well. And so you just never know what may happen. You guys can play Jeopardy games on there. You can, I don't know, anything at all. Of course, be careful if you're going to watch something on Zoom because of parental consent. But if you're just there to play a game, if you're just there to have conversation, you'd be surprised how many people are willing to show up. Now, can you do that every day? No, maybe you hold those sessions once a week or once every 2 weeks. But the point is that they are available and you provide students with a space to just be themselves. The third thing, I used Flipgrid for video responses from my students. I don't know how many of you use Flipgrid, but wow, I felt like I learned so much about my students' personalities, their mannerisms, the way that they thought about things when they had to articulate verbally versus just a dry written response. And don't get me wrong, written responses have their place, but not all of the time. Think about how much actual discussion you would be having in the classroom if you were there in person. And so Flipgrid is a really great resource that I have to start using more often, where you can post questions and students have to record themselves or video themselves responding to the question. I loved this activity. You are also able to respond virtually as well. And it just allows them to also see you in a different light. So if you have not tried this already, definitely do that. And it's a great space for students to be able to see each other's responses as well. I really thought that the assignment was fun. It was so different. Not that Flipgrid is different, because I know it's been out there for a really long time. But again, when it comes to building relationships and just opening up communication and conversation and discussion, the more opportunities for students to talk versus chat. I don't know about you guys, but the chat, they love chatting. It is like pulling teeth to get them to say something out loud. And so forcing them to respond virtually for an assignment, for really cool discussion, in my book is a win. The last thing I want to recommend are virtual shout outs. At my school, we call them North Stars. I believe I've spoken about this before. When we were in person, it was a form that teachers and students got to fill out, and it would just be to a specific person for any reason at all. I would give them out to students who participated a lot, who maybe said something really insightful during class, who handed in an assignment early, anything at all that I just felt like recognizing the student for, because they helped me after class clean up the classroom. My assistants helped me maybe grade a homework assignment. I just loved handing out North Stars because they were pretty much just words of affirmation that you were giving to someone. One, it's free. Two, it's a nice and kind act. And three, if someone has done something that you want to recognize, why not write it out on a piece of paper for them? And so my school has created this virtually now, where we can fill out a form and then someone is responsible for like sending the North Star to that student. On a more individual basis or teacher to student basis, you can just create this form on your own, or you can just write them in emails, or you can decorate a really cool document and you can always turn them into PDFs and then email them to your students, almost like a very informal award. But again, it's just words of affirmation acknowledging those students. What you also can do is give students the opportunity to write those to each other and also write those to their teachers. I love this because it really does help build community. It reminds everyone, hey, we're all in this together. And it also just teaches everyone how to be nice. We would be surprised how many people have a hard time saying something nice about somebody. And so, hey, write something nice about this person. Pick one person in class that you want to just acknowledge, and you can really help build community, but then also build relationship with yourself and your students as well. This is something that my co-teacher and I have been incorporating a lot this semester because it really is the easiest way to build relationship and acknowledge students for all of their hard work. So that's all I have for you guys. I did not want to overwhelm you with so many different ideas and options because the truth is, maybe out of all 4 of these, you may just pick one. The goal is that you focus on something to help build relationship in your classroom. And when relationships are built, more than likely those students will be willing to show up to class. They will be able to advocate for themselves a little bit more if they are missing work or struggling in the classroom. And so I do believe that the relationship building is a key aspect, especially now during remote teaching. We never want our students to just feel like a number. We don't want them to feel like they can just be passerbys or ghosts in our classrooms. We want them to know that they matter and that they are seen. And all 4 of these options here, suggestions, I believe can help improve your relationship with your students. So again, if you liked this video, please make sure that you do give it a thumbs up. Also subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all in the next video.